Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. All right, third hour kicks off right now on this Thursday morning, July 16th, coming up at the bottom of the hour. We'll catch up with Jake. So, again, second to final call for questions for our DNR warden friend. Please text those on over to 715-830-1912. I did forget one more. One I was going to include on my 3-up. I don't know if you're as big of a Rocky fan as I am, but the new Rocky movie trailer, I'm pumped. I keep watching that thing, and I am pumped, dude. So, just saying. Go watch it. Big impact in my life is the Rocky movie, so I'm excited for that new trailer to come out. Heck yeah. November can't come soon enough when it comes out. So, just don't come out the opening of deer season or Thanksgiving, because then I can't go see it on opening day. Yeah. So, but what's your favorite sports movie?
That's a good question. My favorite sports movie? I like Moneyball. That's pretty good. Draft Day is pretty good.
Yeah. You're going to get Surveyor mad at you now for saying boy. Draft Day. So I'm with you, though, man. I went to the theater to watch it. Come on.
There you go.
Yeah. It's a tradition you got to watch every draft time. So
yeah.
What's the movie that if you're scrolling through the TV, it's on, you stop? And you just pick up where it doesn't even matter how far into the movie it is.
Like my favorite movie?
Sure.
I'm a Tombstone fan.
Ooh. Okay. I have a hot take on Tombstone.
Okay.
So we got Tombstone and Wyatt Earp.
Yep.
Right? We got those two. My hot take on this, and I'm going to probably annoy a lot of people. Kevin Costner's a better Wyatt Earp than Kurt Russell. Everything else to Tombstone is better. Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday. You have to have Sam Elliott in a movie like that.
Yeah.
I love Kurt Russell, but I might prefer the Kevin Costner Wyatt Earp over.
It's kind of a hot take.
It is a hot take, and I'm ready to get the beating on it. But that's where I'm at. Tombstone is, I'm sorry, but Tombstone's made because of Doc Holliday's, Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the most quotable, one of the best movie characters of all time. Of all time. And, well, that would be a good topic on a slow day. Best movie characters of all time that's not maybe the lead character. Like supporting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Tombstone because of Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer, not a good Batman, but he's a good Doc Holliday. So.
Yeah. He makes that movie for sure.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, just the presence of Sam Elliott, for crying out loud. That is the dude. I wish I had Sam Elliott's voice. I wish I could get Sam Elliott to voice everything we do on here. That's the voice I want for everything.
So if somebody had to do a play-by-play of your life, that's who you're picking?
Mm-hmm. My documentary. I mean, it was only perfect that the intro to Super Bowl 45 was narrated by who? Sam Elliott with the Packers.
True.
I mean, I'll replay it if you don't remember it, because it's I mean, the man, the stash and everything. That is a dude. When I think of a dude, that is Sam Elliott. So, yeah, I've always wanted him. Yeah, never mind. I'm going to go on a tangent. I was going to go down a tangent. We don't need to. So, we got, the other, I thought of another one that I was going to say on the, for my 3-up and 3-down. I'm actually going to go a little basketball. Braden Burries.
Yeah.
I think he's having a good start to Summer League. Don't know if that'll carry into the regular season. We are nowhere near that, but I mean, first impressions, I think he's off to a good start for the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Going to need that type of play if they want to do anything this year, but I know the Bucks have been rumored with like Peyton Watson and such. That could have been another down for our 3-up and down is a Gary Trent deal. Down for that. That does not make any sense unless there was a prior agreement. that
there
a lot
had
of people
to have been a handshake deal. There is no other way.
Has to. You don't give a guy a 4 years guaranteed $64 million deal coming off of 9 points a game.
When he got sat because he just was so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know.
So here's my question. Say it was a handshake deal. Do you really have to honor it? I mean, you don't want to go back on your word, but if there was no legal thing in writing.
Well, that's my question. Is there any tampering involved?
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, they're getting investigated for it. So they needed this savings. That's why Gary Trent signed the minimum with Giannis there. And so if this wasn't, see, that's the hard part. I don't think you needed to, but at the same time, like, he was drawing interest from other teams. Mm-hmm. If I'm Gary Trent Jr., I'd rather go play for a different team. I don't know why he's staying in Milwaukee. It doesn't make sense, but
especially for 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, money. It has to be a money thing.
It's gotta be.
Why else would you stay there? And unless, I mean, I guess he could come out and say, "Hey, this is what happened," and throw the franchise under the bus and get them in some serious trouble. And that's why they, signed him, held up their end of the bargain with that handshake deal, wink, wink, nudge, nudge sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's just, there's no other way. There's nothing else that makes sense about this.
Nope.
Nothing. He is not the same player that he was a few years ago where he was averaging 17, 18 points a game.
Yeah.
And I'll admit, I liked it when they brought him in. Mm-hmm. And I wanted them to bring him in a year before that. But it's not, and I don't know if it was Doc Rivers. I don't know if it, whatever. But you don't give a guy that contract for what he has done for you recently. And I know people say, well, a lot of contracts are for what they're going to do. I don't have any confidence he's going to go out there and drop you 20 points a game, 18 points a game.
Well, and again, we have such a guard-infested team. He's probably not going to play a lot if he keeps playing like he is. Like,
I don't know. I'm speechless with it. I was just reading people are giving me a hard time.
Like, the Raptors were willing to offer him $15 million per year, but he wanted $25. So
that's what. Yeah, Gary. So he came. Mm-hmm. It does not make sense. Watch, we're going to look like idiots now when it comes to February, and he's averaging 20 points a game, and it's probably an all-star,
and we're like in the play-in or something. Yeah.
This is my thing when it comes to the Bucks. And now I was reading an article last night, more so a blog. Could the Bucks actually have a better record this year without Giannis? And this is me with my fanism coming through. It's that point in time. Like, well, really, when you look at it, are they that bad? So, you look at the roster and it's like, oh, okay. I gotta take a step back and take the glasses off and take that off because, okay, there's names on there. You're right. Like, oh, okay, Miles Turner. Okay, Kyle Kuzma and Tyler Hero. Now I'm seeing, hey, Jonathan Kuminga could potentially. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you get Kuminga and somehow get rid of Kuzma, okay, maybe I can get on board with that. But I gotta take a step back and take those glasses off and say, no, this is still going to not be a good team this year.
It kind of depends on the development of Burries and Ament. And then Tyler Hero is going to have to be a star. And they're not better. They're not better without Giannis, but they're better than the team last year because Giannis really didn't play. Mm-hmm. So they are better than last year, but this isn't a team that's going to likely make the playoffs. So.
Yeah, unless the Eastern Conference is just awful.
I could see him doing what the Hornets did, kind of getting into the play-in, maybe winning one game and then getting swept. Mm-hmm. I could see that because they, like you said, they have talented players in Hero and Miles Turner, and now they have a deep bench. But I don't see.
So let me ask this to Bucks fans, if there's any out there anymore. But, okay, so the scenario you just said with the Hornets, I think there's optimism surrounding the Hornets now, right? Like, okay, we maybe starting to get a little bit. And I know with the ball trade, maybe that's taken everything away, but who knows? Khan looks like a great player.
Yes.
I mean, he looks like a good player. Would you rather see the Bucks this year maybe kind of hover around that play-in, maybe get in the play-in, maybe even get in the playoffs, because then it gives you optimism like, okay, this has got the foundation of a good team? Or just completely tank it and hopefully get a top pick? And I know the lottery stuff's going to change. But would you rather see it completely tank so maybe it improves your odds of getting a higher pick?
I think going into this year, I want them to, like, I'd be fine if they traded Hero. I kind of want that to happen just because I don't think he's going to be here long term. And then if you offloaded Miles Turner and maybe even Kyle Kuzma, which signals a full rebuild and pretty much tanking. I don't like tanking. I've never wanted my teams to tank, but at the same time, like, if we play Braden Burries and Nate Amen, if they started on a night-to-night basis, you're going to lose a lot of games because they're not ready. So I think you can, if you, let's say you trade Hero, trade Turner, and trade Kuzma, which Kuzma you're not going to because nobody wants him, including the Bucks, you're gonna be tank mode, but at the same time you're not tanking because you're playing just people who aren't going to win games. So I kind of look at it like, let's just go get the number 1 pick or something like that. Whereas play for a play-in and then pick 15th.
Right. Best case scenario maybe for like a guy like Braden Burries is to have a Khan type of year. I mean, we would take that in a heartbeat. I know Khan was the 4th pick in his draft, but I think it's still fair to say that he maybe surpassed some expectations in his rookie year.
Yes.
I mean, to average nearly 20 points per game and the amount of threes the guy was making and shooting, I mean, he surpassed, I think, a lot. Cooper Flagg hit those expectations, but that's what we expected. But Khan, I think, really surprised. I like saying Khan because of Star Trek. But Khan, I think you can easily say, okay, that dude, I think legitimately, probably, my opinion, probably should have been Rookie of the Year. I will say it. I mean, the fact that the Hornets got in, I think is a big reason was because of him.
Yeah, and I think it's a little different with Burries and Khan just because Khan pretty much shot the lights out from 3.
Yep.
And Burries, I've gotten to watch a little bit in the summer league. He's a playmaker. He's going to assist. He's going to get to the basket. He's going to score. He can knock down the 3 too, but that's not his strength. So I think if he's going to average, I'll take 20 points a game from him. I would love to see you somewhere around 5-6 assists a night. But he's got to play defense too. And so he's going to have to learn that.
I'll be curious to see if he can develop into that point guard or if he's going to be a 2. I know that was kind of some of the talk surrounding him, if he can develop into a traditional point guard or if he's going to be more of an off-the-ball type of guard. Because, I mean, you look at the backcourt right now, that is, it's...
Yeah, because Tyler Hero's a 2.
Yeah, exactly. And Kevin Porter Jr. and then Ryan Rollins, and then you've got, Burries in there. Those are 4 guards, and like you said, Tyler's more of the 2.
Gary Trent.
Oh, Gary Trent Jr. too. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about him. But I think we're going to see a trade of one of those, of a Kevin Porter Jr. or Ryan Rollins. I think it's going to be Kevin Porter Jr.
Which would then need to make Burries your point guard. Yeah. And I think he'll excel in that role personally because he's not the guy that's going to score 40. So I think he'll excel in that. And that would be a good spot to kind of bring him up in.
Yep. All right, we got to take a quick break. Back with plenty more, though, coming up after these few words. All right, we've got Jake Bolks coming up in about 8 minutes or so. So please, this is your final chance to get any of those questions that you have for Jake. Since we're kind of on the topic, we only got a few minutes left for Jake to get here. LeBron's still looking for a team. What's your LeBron-o-meter telling you? Where is he going to be at? You think it's still the Cavs?
I do. Okay. I think it's still the Cavs. I could see the Heat. I don't think he's going to the Warriors. Now watch, he's going to go to the Warriors, but I don't know. I in my opinion, I think he's already got something done. I think he knows where he's going.
I do too.
So
I do too. I love the betting odds now that are like, how is he going to announce it?
yeah,
Blog, podcast, video. Who cares? But I mean,
Exactly.
that's where we're at in this point in time. It'll probably be. I don't think it'll be leaked by Shams or anything. It's going to come from Rich Paul or like LeBron himself. Like he will announce it. It won't be Shams. It won't be. I think the fact that it's pretty quiet from Shams and all those insiders tells you how locked up. Isn't it interesting? You go from a Giannis one where you have those teams mentioned. I really haven't seen Shams. I think Shams and all these insiders are just throwing out possibilities, but no real insight to that, if that makes sense.
I wonder if they're almost like have been told like you don't, or like your career is in jeopardy. Because like one insider said he thinks like he knows a deal is done, but he can't report it.
Okay.
So like it's like don't do this because.
And it is. I mean, we have seen examples of that in all sports where insiders will tease that they know this or they know something.
Yeah.
Like Jay Glazer knew what the Rams were going to do. And, I mean, you see it on Sunday football when all these reporters drop these big nuggets. It's like, how the heck were you able to hold on to that for and not risk it being leaked and not being the first?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's a good point that they probably know, and it's like, no, can't do it.
Because like you said, I think if they didn't know, you'd be hearing a lot more.
That's a good point.
Like, is LeBron going here or is LeBron going here? It's been really quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. But I just, let's just get this over with.
Please. It doesn't even matter, to be honest with you. In my opinion, he doesn't make the impact that.
You don't think if he goes to the 76ers that they vault up?
I think the 76ers are likely to go to the finals anyways right now.
What about the Heat? If he does pair up with Giannis and Bam and Andrew Wiggins and Mitchell?
I don't think, I mean, maybe that gets them a higher seed. Maybe.
I think, okay, Warriors though.
So the Warriors, I do think it helps because he's got chemistry with Steph. And that would just be a fun pairing to watch. But I think that takes the Warriors from, again, a fringe play-in team to a playoff team, and then maybe one round further. I don't think any move he makes is going, unless he goes to the Sixers, because I do think that helps. They need a four piece in that roster. But unless he goes to the Sixers, I don't think he's a finals player. But if he goes to the Sixers, he's the fourth or fifth option. Like, I don't know. I think he's looking for money. So
you think he's looking for money and not just another ship?
I do, because why wouldn't he have signed if he was? Like, maybe that's just me thinking that, but like, why wouldn't he go back to the Lakers? Or I guess the Lakers didn't want him, but I don't know. I think he's looking for money personally. But I mean, if he's looking for a championship, then he should be going to the Sixers.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, we got to take a break, and then we'll get to Jake here answering some of your outdoor-related questions. So let's do that. We'll take our break right now and be back after these quick words. Believe it or not, hunting season preparation starts right now, and there is no better place to gear up than Tilden Gun in Chippewa Falls. Whether you are looking to upgrade your deer rifle, pick up a new turkey gun, or add a dependable shotgun for traps, sporting clays, or target shooting, Tilden Gun has a wide selection of firearms from the brands that you know and trust. Their knowledgeable staff can help you find the perfect fit for your hunting style, your experience level, and budget. Plus, you'll find ammunition, accessories, optics, and more to help you get the most out of every trip to the range or into the field. Don't wait until the season is right around the corner. Get prepared now and shoot with confidence later. Stop by Tilden Gun in Chippewa Falls and see why sportsmen and shooting enthusiasts throughout the Chippewa Valley trust Tilden Gun for all of their firearm needs. Let's bring him on in. Wisconsin Conservation Warden Jake Bolks joining us this morning. Good morning, Jake. How are you doing, bud?
I am doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Not bad, dude, but a little smoky out there, which, I mean, just I guess
Yeah.
to kind of kick it off, I mean, how does this affect you with your job? Because you got to be outside quite a bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you look at it just like anything else. If there's people that are more, have asthma or more sensitive to it or whatnot. For me personally, it doesn't affect me too much. I have pretty wicked allergies when it comes to like pollen and stuff. When it comes to the smoke, it's just more an inconvenience. But it was pretty crazy how fast that came in last night because I picked my kids up from daycare. Everything was fine. We went inside to get his T-ball stuff on. We came out like 20 minutes later, and like I knew those fires were burning, but it happened so quick that I like started scanning, the fire department and stuff, thinking that something was on fire down the road from me.
Yeah,
but it was just like boom. It was crazy.
It did come in like really, really fast last night. What's like the DNR's role when it comes to wildfires like that? Forest Service, and then you got DNR fire department. Like, what would be the role for the Wisconsin DNR if that was something like that happening in Wisconsin?
Yeah, that's a good question. So if we did have something like that happening in Wisconsin, we would be working with similar to probably what the Minnesota DNR is now, but you work as a big conglomerate to accomplish all the tasks because there's so many things that need to be accomplished during a wildfire. It's not just put the fire out. It's get the resources across the state from all the different agencies to put the fire out. There's all the people out there. They need food, water. They can't work 10 days straight. They need hotels or somewhere to stay. They need reinforcements. So they got, there's different staff members that go out there and work on the behind-the-scenes stuff. And then there's the evacuation. So like the sheriff, you're working with the sheriff's department. So there's a lot of moving parts of it. There's the media. You got to have public information officers. So the DNR's role is to work with all of those as well as providing all the assets, equipment, and knowledge needed to fight these fires. Our agency has something called a incident management team. There's like a Southwest district and a Northeast district, and there might even be a Northwest district, to be honest. But what those incident management teams are specifically designed for are large-scale wildfires and different natural resource responses, negative responses, or when there's an incident. So we train a couple times a year as a supervisor, as a lieutenant. For me, I go there, as supervisor role for the wardens, and we train on all the different things that would happen that we would need, like who's taking care of what. There's aeronautics, there's working with the county, there's working with the state, the feds, state patrol, everything. So there's hundreds, if not thousands, of different people involved in something like that. There's every agency you can think of is probably involved because there's so many of the little things that need to be brought out to a scene in the middle of nowhere that you wouldn't think of. If it's something as simple as porta potties, like if this is way in the middle of nowhere and there's no bathrooms, you can't expect everyone just to pee in the woods, for weeks at a time. So there's a lot that goes along with it. And I would say with all the training and incidents I've responded to with the incident management team in the last few years, I'd say Wisconsin has a pretty good system ready to respond if something like this happens.
That actually was going to be my next question to you is that something that you've trained for? You had to, get I don't know, classes or however you want to term it. So you do train for that. It sounds like quite often, just in case something like that were to happen around here.
Yeah. Yep. Forestry leads it up. They're the specialists and a lot of that kind of stuff. They lead it up. And yeah, they do a lot more training than just, law enforcement does. A lot of times, we're not the ones fighting the fires. We're the ones responding, helping with evacuations, helping with just that general communication. So we go to the trainings a few times, but they kind of train year round as well as respond to a lot more fires. I mean, there's, you could probably Google how many wildfires have been in Wisconsin. I think they average like 3 acres or 0.3 acres or something like that. But there's, hundreds and hundreds of wildfires that happen every year. They don't make the news just because, there are 5 acres here, 15 there, 0.1 here. But these big ones, like the Boundary Waters in Canada, it's just so rural. I go up there every year. I'm kind of praying that they get these things put out in the next month because I got a trip scheduled there at the end of next month. they're just so remote. I mean, you can't get firefighting equipment in there besides planes, and even planes. It's just so remote there that you can't, and it's so hilly. It's so, like, the topography is crazy up there. I don't know how you create a line to stop it until like that fire hits a main road or a big open area, somewhere where they can actually get machinery there. I don't know how you stop something like that unless nature stops it for you.
Right. Yeah. Scary situation though too. So is that, so like my aunt, she's retired from the Forest Service, but she used to go out and fight these fires out west, even though she was, working here in Wisconsin. Is that something, like if DNR wardens wanted to volunteer, is that something that they could go do it and help, or is that more of a Forest Service thing?
It's more of a Forest Service or different agencies type thing. So could a DNR warden do it? Yes, potentially. When I was in college, I got my wildland firefighter 1 and 2 courses done, so I could go do that, so I could get hired to go out west. That's what I figured I'd do for like a spring, summer job throughout college, is that you go out west and fight fires and yada, yada. I ended up driving a dump truck for 4 years. But that is something that some agencies do, different like fish and game agencies across the state, the nation do it. Obviously, there's just specific, divisions or departments within agencies out west that do it or recruit people from across the country. A lot of people, it's a job in a way too. So, anyone can sign up to do it. Anyone can get the schooling to do it. And if someone within like our DNR is volunteering or getting hired to go out there and do it, generally it's because they put themselves through some schooling or training to put them in a position where they could be recruited, and then they work, using vacation or different things, or maybe there's some sort of payment they could get. But it's kind of separate. We don't generally send DNR staff across state lines or somewhere else, or even technically working within the state, unless there's some sort of jurisdiction or mutual aid request that we get.
You just you mentioned something there that I thought of a question off the top of my head. What is the difference between the DNR and the fishing game, U.S. wildlife fishing game?
Yeah, so kind of probably a couple months ago now, we kind of talked about, responding to complaints in like the city of Eau Claire and how there's different jurisdictions. There's the local ordinances, like the city ordinances, county ordinances that are enforced by the county. There's state laws that are enforced by the state, and then there's federal laws like you can't shoot a bald eagle that are enforced by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So similar to that, all these fires, different properties, out west stuff, just anything that happens, I guess, anywhere in the country, there's just different things that the feds have authority on that we might assist with them or have similar authority. There's a lot less federal employees than there are state employees when it comes to like natural resources and stuff. So like the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service or the feds or the Forest Service, whatever, they're just their own thing. We don't necessarily work collaboratively with them all the time. I don't know if they even have any offices around here. The FBI and stuff does, but when it comes to some of those agencies, we don't have like the same type of wildfires that they have out west, so they just don't staff a lot of people here. The state does a really good job of being able to manage what happens within the state, so they don't need to, try to dedicate resources to around here. But they're just kind of like their own separate thing with their own separate authority and laws that they are tasked to enforce.
Gotcha. All right, interesting. Staying with the DNR, just a news nugget from the other day. But anybody hoping that there's going to be a sharp-tailed grouse hunting season, that's not going to happen for this upcoming year, correct, Jake?
Yeah, I saw that too, that they put the press release how that won't happen. And I do think, I know everyone that is listening now wasn't listening at every one of our past conversations, but I do think someone asked about this, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And I think we had a long discussion how, like, I'm no biologist, so I can't speak on this, but I've listened to a lot of podcasts on grouse, just like rehab and how you can help grouse. And the biggest thing about grouse, any species, is habitat. I saw some some information on how, like, you can release 100, 200, 3 of them in an area, and they're just not going to survive as well as if you focus on first making that habit or that landscape ready for them. And unfortunately, it's hard to get, land, big tracts of land in a way ready for any animal, let alone the little grouse. That's pretty specialized. So, with all that being said, there'll probably be a sharp-tailed season at some point, but I just don't see it, ever becoming what it used to be or becoming this big open free-for-all unless there's some, like, real dedicated push to make habitat for that species that people, set their land aside or manage their land. It's got to be a private land and a public land cooperation to get that to happen someday.
It's kind of crazy for me to think about that because, I remember when I was younger, I swear every time I was out bow hunting for deer as a kid, I think I saw, grouse almost every night because you think it's a deer walking through and then it's, it's one of those grouse, you get
right.
your hearts pumping. So, it's...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And there's still, I was just saying, there's still a fair amount of rough grouse that we see as hunters a lot. The sharp tail are, they're a different subspecies or a different, another species of grouse that are just a lot more, there's just lots of them, and they're a little bit more, not finalized, they're a little bit more individualistic and require different things and whatnot. But, the biggest thing I've learned over the last few years when I, study this and read this is like how many animals, you can grow hundreds of, certain species in a zoo and release them all and yada, 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 or work to do this or that or rehab them. But if the land isn't suitable or, the water isn't or whatever, if that topography, if that landscape, if that habitat isn't ready for them or isn't being managed for that species, it's really hard to get those species to rebound as well as we would hope they would. The thing about deer and wolves is just like and bear is that they're, they seem like they might be a little bit more specialized, but in a way they're not. They can adapt to anything. That's why we're seeing so many bears here in the cities. That's why you see so many deer. That's why the wolves are going everywhere. They're very adaptable. Some species like sharp-tailed grouse just aren't as adaptable. So it's hard to open up a hunting season as a management structure when there's not a lot of them there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, Jake, before I let you go, you've talked a lot this summer so far about boating safety, and I know we had a very tragic accident on Lake Pepin just a few days ago, and that was, I think more Minnesota was involved with that, with, fire departments and DNR and such, but maybe do another pitch for boating safety and such, since we've got, a lot of summer left here in Wisconsin.
Yeah, a lot of summer, a lot of boating. When it comes to the safety, it has been a pretty rough year. There was that boating fatal with the barge here on the river last week, but then, right before the 4th, there was that family on Lake Geneva where the boat slipped and 3 young kids drowned under the boat and whatnot. And in all those events, the Wisconsin wardens have been there as well with the Minnesota people, Illinois, this and that. We have these special things called tow fish, which is like a big electronic sonar we tow behind the boat. It can help find missing people, stuff like that. And on those two, we were pretty instrumental. The Wisconsin wardens were pretty instrumental with assisting with finding those people and for the families. The big thing, what we keep seeing is just like, obviously, alcohol, whether you're totally bombed or not, it impairs your judgment. So especially with the UTVs, we're seeing plenty of people rolling UTVs this summer with alcohol. Same with boating. People are making turns too tight. They're not understanding, the depth perception, especially at night when it's dark. So when they're out there the rest of the summer, you really need to focus on, if you have life jackets, at least have them somewhat accessible. When they're stuffed under all your gear at the bottom of your boat, if something happens, you can't get them out quick enough, especially if it rolls over or something. You'll never get those out. Knowing where you're at, knowing the water bodies, knowing the river or the lake topography, watching for other boaters, all those kind of things. Obviously, if you're going to have a couple beers, that's fine. But if you're going to send it, just find someone else to drive your boat. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It's one of those things where nobody ever thinks it'll happen to them, and then they go out for what seems like a classic Thursday night fishing or tubing, and then all of a sudden, it turns into the worst night of their lives because someone drowns or someone dies or someone goes missing. It happens just like that, and it will happen to anyone at any time. Mm-hmm. And that's what's hard about it. So I would just encourage everyone to make sure to be safe with it this year. Enjoy it. Go out there, have fun. It's not supposed to be a scary thing, but just be mindful and be proactive, not reactive.
Good reminder. Jake Bolks, conservation warden for the great state of Wisconsin. Thank you for joining us again this morning, Jake, and be safe out there for your normal job, but also with the air out there too, sir.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. Appreciate it. You guys too.
All right, there you go. There's Jake joining us as usual every Thursday morning. We got to take a quick break, but we'll be back to wrap up the third hour coming up after these few words. Looking for the perfect summer hangout? Well, make your way on over to the VFW Post 305, located right here in Eau Claire on 1300 Star Avenue. Enjoy some beautiful views overlooking the river, some great food, cold beverages, and some of the best live local music that you will find anywhere in the Chippewa Valley. Whether you're meeting some friends after work or spending a summer evening outdoors, the VFW Post 305 is the place to be. Some great views, some great music equals great times. That's at the VFW Post 305 in Eau Claire. I figured out, we've had some people on the video stream saying there's like messaging sounds. I figured it out, so my apologies, because we updated our video stream, and apparently I forgot to mute a little something that's a new feature on there. So it was like my Facebook notifications that was making the noises. So the more you know. Figured it out. So apologies for that, but thank you for making me aware of that so I could figure that out. So we got about 6 minutes left to the top of the hour. If you want to send us your Am I Wrongs, your Mike's Star Markets Am I Wrong? So I got a few of those, but you know what? Let's just read them off right now as we finish off the first hour. Sam says, am I wrong for believing that the Brewers fleeced the Astros again, sending over a prospect that probably wasn't going to play an inning for the major league ball club for two pitchers that can help out the Brewers this year? Is he wrong? This is from Sam. I mean, for immediate help, probably I would say you're not wrong, because the fact that the Astros also sent some cash.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard not. We'll see. It remains to be seen. Mike says, am I wrong for thinking that this is the only Brewers trade we are going to see? I hope you're wrong.
Yeah.
I hope you're wrong. Another texter says, am I wrong for... Oh, it was the same one. Am I wrong for feeling doubtful that the Brewers won't make any other moves? So we kind of had that one. That was from Eric. We did have a Packer one. Where'd that one go? I thought we had a Jordan Love one. I'm going to go with you guys. This is from Ben. Am I wrong for thinking that if Jordan Love was with the Chicago Bears, he would be viewed in a more positive light like Caleb Williams is? I think we kind of already touched on that. I honestly buy that. Mm-hmm. I buy that. If Jordan, so I'll throw that out to everybody else that wants to chime in, including you, Bears fans, because I know we have some that listen, but you're afraid to chime in at times. You're afraid to text in or give us your thoughts. I'm going to call you out. You know who you are. If Jordan Love was on the Bears, everything's the same. Would he get more attention? Would he get more praise? I don't want to ask fans, would you rather have Jordan Love? Because everybody's going to have personal attachments and that, because, I mean, a lot of Bears fans would rather have Caleb Williams. Well, I mean, he provided a lot of good stuff for you last year and exciting wins and that. So there is a little bit of that rivalry thing. I don't want to throw that out there, but be honest. Do you think if Love, everything's the same, would he get more praise, more love. I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy that. I think that is 100% part of it. I really do. If he was with the Browns, it's kind of the same scenario, right? I mean, going to a franchise that hasn't really had quarterback success, I'd buy that in a heartbeat. So keep those coming. That's your Am I Wrongs, brought to you by Mike's Star Market. So coming up next hour, we'll get back to some more baseball talk as we get set for the Brewers finally getting back out on the field tomorrow. We do have a game tonight, just one. It's the Phillies and the Mets are going to be in action. So, but the Brewers will be back at it tomorrow. I think, one thing that I'm really anxious about when we get back to Brewers talk is maybe just some updates with everything. Pat Murphy's going to be talking with the media, updates on, Kyle Harrison. Is this going to be a long stay? Is this going to be a short one? Are they going to be patient? I want some more details on Jacob Mizorowski and just everybody else too. Just, I hope a lot of those guys just were able to kick back and relax and get away from baseball a little bit. It just seemed like a team that was almost maybe checked out in that final game against the Pirates. Yeah. The first two, obviously, they were really close, one game or one-run games, but it almost felt like, okay, that third one, they're kind of checked out. And they're ready to get to Cancun or wherever they're going for their break. But, yeah, I just want some updates on where everybody's at. So, but we'll kind of take a look at this quote-unquote second half of this Brewers season coming up in the final hour. So, but you can continue to hit us up with your text and your thoughts. Did you watch the ESPYs at all last night?
Nope,
I didn't either. So I saw the Knicks won best team, but that's about it. So, this is interesting. Bill Barnwell from ESPN. We might have to dive in this. 2026 NFL trade tiers, players worth round one picks by teams. All right. Where's he got? How many does he got on Green Bay here? I'll make it a trivia question. Wow. Okay. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 players on the Packers.